preferences in either going late to bed and waking up late, or going to bed early and waking up early. This chronotype thing is driven by genetics. You are designed as a night owl to go to sleep later and to wake up later. So don't feel bad for that because it's ingrained in your genetics. So far, I think we've identified 9 genes that are responsible for anything
That's
that
a
has to do with the
lot.
chronotype. Yeah. If
9.
you're a night owl, which you can know by using a questionnaire. This questionnaire that you can use to see whether you're more of a morning person or an evening person. There's actually been studies trying to switch that. They tried to make a group of evening persons be morning persons. Ineffective. It was a 3-week
Mm.
program, which at some
Mm-hmm.
point people were switching their schedule.
Yeah.
When you're genetically designed for that, it's really hard and habits come back.
So, welcome to the show, Nicola. I'm very excited to have you. I am first curious, how in the world did you decide to study science of sleep?
I wonder myself the question even. I would say that originally I was interested in consciousness, just wondering how come you and I are conscious beings? How come can we produce this subjective experience? And then I actually understood that the sleeping brain is just a great model to understand consciousness, which is a bit counterintuitive in a way, because you might think that during sleep there's nothing going on, you're just entirely unconscious. But turns out actually there's so many things going on in terms of your phenomenology, as we call it. So the conscious experience is a lot of different thoughts and dreams and consciousness. That goes also with drastic changes in brain activity. So I can actually study consciousness while we are asleep. So that's how I started working on sleep.
Tell me a little bit more. What is it connected to creativity, and where would you like to break down the misconception that people have about creativity and sleep?
There's a lot of anecdotes on the link between creativity and sleep, particularly the link between dreams and creativity, and hence the term sleep on it. The idea that as you fall asleep and go to sleep, when you wake up, you'll have creative insights that you would have never had if you haven't slept before. And there's inventions that have been found through dreams and sleep, like I think the periodic table from Mendeleev was derived from that. The experiment that led Otto Lewy to understand how neurons communicate come from that as well. So a bunch of anecdotes. So we know in a way that there's a link between the two. Now, empirically, it's hard to test because creativity is very heterogeneous as a definition. What is creativity? How would you define that? The context of science would define creativity as something that's appropriate to a task, to a problem, and something that's original. It's like the combination between the two that leads to creative insight. Now, if I dive a bit deeper in sleep and creativity, there's basically 2 sleep stages that we think can be beneficial for creative insights. Generally speaking, sleep is divided in 2 big parts. You have non-REM sleep, which is non-rapid eye movement sleep, which is divided in the transition to sleep, which we call N1, light sleep, which we call N2, and deep sleep, which we call N3. Once you do those 3 sleep stages, you go through REM sleep, so rapid eye movement sleep. That is where typically you have the most bizarre or perceptual dreams. The most recent research shows that both the transition to sleep and REM sleep are beneficial to creativity, which might be linked to the idea that we have conscious experiences in those 2 states, which is dreams. We have a lot of dreams during REM sleep, and they might be beneficial for creative insights, and also the transition to sleep, which I'm mostly working on for my PhD, is also linked to creativity.
So, AI and machine learning, it's been such a hot topic in all industries. How is AI machine learning changing how we study sleep and what we can collect and understand?
Mm.
What's an example of because of AI and machine learning, we can do X versus we couldn't do it before?
The paper that I published 2 years ago on the topic, because of the limitations that I told you, I developed this novel framework that automatically extracts thousands of features in the brain oscillations and tried to use what we called unsupervised clustering, trying to group these sleep data based on the properties that I extracted and see what would be the novel sleep architecture, something that we can't see with the naked eye. And so that's definitely, in my opinion, a very important avenue of research to better classify sleep, to better characterize it, and to see it in a different angle. And the idea of conscious experiences as well is super important, especially given that just based on the brain activity, you can't really tell whether someone is dreaming or not. It's hard to tell. The
Mm.
reason for that is because we're not, in my opinion, using enough information to tell whether someone is having a conscious experience or not. And so using more advanced techniques to better extract more properties and cluster it in a different way is just crucial to characterize sleep also in terms of dreams and other stuff.